Hi guys, I'm just doing a quick live stream while I'm cleaning up. Figured I'd hang out. And right now I'm just taking a quick break. So I'm going to have a cigarette while I'm waiting for people to pop in and ask me questions. If you've got anything you want to ask about yesterday's stream or yesterday's video or any of the videos I've done recently, by all means feel free. And yet another reason I'll never get monetized on YouTube. Because I smoke. But what I'm doing right now is just sorting out a few things, getting some wood into boxes, either to be thrown away or burned. More like than not, probably burned. I see I have 2 likes and 1 viewer. Interesting. And hi, Prime Knight. Yeah, I had seen you just a minute ago on Discord, so I thought I'd not tell you I was doing this, so you'd have a pleasant surprise for the morning. And Stormy is in. Hello, love. So yeah, as I was saying, today I'm just doing a little more cleanup, getting rid of the scrap wood from the step. Some of it will actually looks like it may, what I thought was scrap might not be scrap, so some of that will end up in the box marked keep. I've got the remaining bits put outside right now. I do believe I have room over there to make a space to put my camera so that you guys can watch what I'm doing outside. It's not going to be anything terribly exciting. I'm just sawing wood by hand and sorting it. So yeah, nothing extremely exciting, I'm sure. Nothing that looks likely to give me an injury either. So, but just in case, I will take off my bracelet and my ring. Because wearing any jewelry that dangles, and yeah, the ring is very low profile, but I don't want to take a chance on it just the same. And again, not using power tools, not really something you need to worry about. 2 kinds of offcuts, trash cuts and scrap cuts. Scrap can be used, fair point. When I use the term scrap, I generally mean tossed. But yeah, you're right. Quite a significant portion of what I've got there might actually end up being scrap or offcuts. I wouldn't bet on it. There's quite a lot of rot in the piece I'm working on right now. So, maybe. But this is what happens when you have something that sits on the very humid, very moist Newfoundland ground for years. Let's see. I did say if you have any questions about anything I've posted or streamed recently, you can also let me know about that. And let me know in general if you're enjoying the content. I know Stormy does. She tells me on a regular basis that I'm too hard on myself. Quite pleased with the way the beard is turning out, though I really wish this spot here was a little easier to see on camera. But the mustache is getting quite the twirl. Oh god, that's gonna get clipped. But yeah, I'm just spending the day in the warm weather, and or part of the day at least, and yeah, just getting some stuff done that needs to be done. And ideally, the next step after this will be to build some stands for my new tools. That sounded creepy as fuck. Well, it was kind of intended to. I mean, Snidely Whiplash wasn't exactly a romantic figure. Yeah. I see I've got 3 viewers. And yeah, so all this is really going to be today is just me jawing at the camera occasionally while I'm doing some sawing. And Primed is asking if I'm a fish. I'm not sure. I could be considered a saltwater human, I suppose. Being that I'm from Newfoundland and really the ocean is in our fucking blood. But the downside, of course, of the mustache is that without wax, it tends to fall down. I think that's probably going to be my next present to myself, is a little container of wax so that I can get this thing out of my lip once in a while. Yeah. And Stormy asked the question we're all wondering. Stop flopping around and get busy. Okay, that makes sense. Well, once I finish this, I will be getting up and getting to work. I like that, though. That's a good motivator. I'm not a fish. Get the fuck up. Stop flopping around. Yep. And as I said, I think before any of you guys really got in, I'm just taking a short break at this point from other stuff I've already done this morning. Like a fish out of water. Kind of. Yeah. But on the off chance that any of this stuff is fit to burn, I am boxing it up. It needs to be boxed up anyway if it has to go out to the trash. So, and I understand why they would want it boxed up, because nails and screws, it's not a good poke to get. Hi, Sasquatch. Yes, I did in fact say eclectic bugaboo. At least I hope that's what came up. But yeah, the intent was obvious. It's occasionally difficult to come up with a good name for a live stream. So, yeah, eclectic bugaboo came to mind, so I figured I'd go with that. I like a good rhyme. Let's see, what else are we doing? Yeah, so if the sawing goes quick enough, then it'll be a case of getting in here and cleaning up some of my storage. I've already cleaned up some storage already in the thumb, and I'm getting insects in the shed already. Hello, Mr. Fly. So it must be getting on to spring. Well, it's well into spring already, to be honest. But it hasn't been great weather until now. So with the weather getting much warmer, it's time to air out the shed and get to work. Name all my streams after Stormy. Problem solved. Prime says he tried making cheese and ham quesadillas and somehow tasted wrong. Quesadillas aren't that hard to make, but it can be difficult to get the tortilla crisped properly. A non-stick pan is a good thing. You throw your tortilla down. You don't need any oil. You just need your pan very hot. Probably, yeah, the right ham. If you can get a chorizo sausage, would probably make it taste even better. Something for your cheese, something that's got jalapeno in it already. It's not a bad choice. Even if you went with just standard cheddar or whatever the standard cheese is in, let me see, Prime, you're in Sweden, if I recall correctly. Yeah, whatever the standard cheese in Sweden happens to be. And then just add a little bit of queso or, some spices, things like that. Banana peppers don't go wrong in a quesadilla if you like spicy. Anyway, cigarette is finished. Calvin Dayton says he's here now. What's happening? I'm just doing a stream for shits and giggles. And Sasquatch says if you use the wrong ham, it does something dusty to the flavor. Wood smoked ham is some standard mild cheese. Might change cheese and try. Don't be afraid to throw a bunch of different spices in there too. Oregano, cracked black pepper if you have it. If you can get the medley pepper, it's the peppercorns in the mill are red, white, and black, and I use that for almost everything I cook, which Stormy can attest to. Every time I've cooked anything for her, it's usually had a significant amount of pepper in it. But pepper is one of those things, if you know how to control it, it's one of those things, once you get the hang of using it, it can be a really good spice just to give flavor as opposed to make something hot. Oh, and my knees are aching like crazy. Okay then, let's get you guys situated and we'll go back to work. And pay no attention to the horrendous haircut that I happen to be sporting right now. It's Friday, so it's shave day. And just to bring it over, there's the wood that I brought out earlier today to put in the sun. which of course now I probably have to move to keep it back in the sun. Okay, that's good. As I said, it's mostly warm, but there's still a little bit of chill in the air, so I am zipping my sweater up a little bit while I work. Taking my phone and my keys out of my pocket. Okay, let me see if I can get the angle right. And you guys can watch what I'm doing. Let me see here. There we are. That's nice and exciting. I'm going to end up with a sunburn probably today, which won't really hurt too much, but once I go to shave, it's going to be interesting. As I'm going, I'm assessing each piece for salvageability. This piece, as you can see, has a core that might be actually usable once I run the ends off on the bandsaw, or the table saw rather. So that's 1, 2, that's about 2 inches of good wood there. So what I will have to do is knock off the other end to get those screws out, and I'll probably knock that off around here somewhere. So yeah, it's the joyous life of a very poor cabinet maker. Okay, more of that has to come off now. So I just broke a screw off, attempting to remove it by hand, which isn't surprising, but that now necessitates another cut. Okay, that's definitely no good to me. And, okay. That thing's in bad shape. Okay. Before I go any further, I'm actually going to pull those screws out. The ones that are on the edge. I really need a new cover for that ashtray too. It's starting to leak pretty badly. Okay. if you're wondering why I'm not using a cordless screwdriver as opposed to the manual to remove these, it's because some of these screws are so twisted from being ripped out of the wood the other day that trying to remove them anyway with manual is kind of pointless. I'd end up ruining my screwdriver trying to get them out. Okay, that piece is substantially worse on that end. So, oh, that's unfortunate. So on this end, you can see where the rot is versus this end. It's what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have to take slice after slice out of this once I get it set up on the miter saw to see exactly how much wood I can save out of this. But to be fair, if I even only save a square piece the size of that end, it's still something I can make something out of. So it's better than wasting it. No, there's my save file. I see chat is moving, so I'll have chat really quickly. Let's see. Gotta have a proper mix, at least 3 cheese. Yeah, that's a good choice. Let's see. I do love my pepper. I was mentioning, Callum mentions Trump's town hall. I was mentioning that to Stormy this morning. It was quite the interesting thing to see. Apparently, they did cut it off 20 minutes early. And yes, he did smoke her at every turn, as Sasquatch says. And he did, in fact, take his page out of Megan, I believe it was Megan Kelly, was his press secretary. Just a second to put a smooch on the camera. He did, in fact, show up with the receipts. Rosemary is really good with garlic. Yeah, that's a good choice. Only 2 inches. As Sasquatch points out, it is good wood. Stormy says every inch counts. Even 2 inches in the right spot can rock the world. That is true. Prime Knight says in his work, 5 thousandths, tenths, hundredths, thousandths of a millimeter can mean 1 million earned or 1 million lost. That sounds like you do some fairly precise work. Callum says he posted some cute cat pics on Discord. That's nice. That's for someone other than me. I'm very much not a cat person. Let's see. Okay, Prime Knight does metal CNC. Yeah, CNC does have very tight tolerances. Prime Knight says he does mostly brass for water systems. That's cool. And yeah, for something that's running water through it, 5 thousandths of a millimeter is important. That can mean the difference between keeping a contract and losing it. I don't think that's going to stay clipped, so I'm going to move that out of the way. Okay. Let's see what we've got in the middle of that. Nice. So this piece is much more promising. Let me see if I can get the light on it a bit better. So you can see there's only a little bit of rot there, but of course it does come up to that end. So I will probably put my next cut. If I can get these screws out, I'll probably cut somewhere up here. So if I can get these two screws, I'll probably cut somewhere up around here. Can't see chat right now and I have my gloves on, so sorry. Hello, little spider. I haven't seen one like you in a long time. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen one like you. Come on to the glove. No, come on. I want you up on my glove. Come on, little buddy. There you go. Let's go say hi to the people. So, I found a little friend. I'll get him up close to the camera. I hope nobody's arachnophobic. But if you guys can identify this guy for me, I'd be interested. I don't think I've ever seen one like this in Newfoundland. Doesn't look like a widow, so... In any case, I'll give you guys a good look at him. If I can get him on camera. And, I'm going to release him to his natural habitat now. See ya. Need to get my scratch off for that. There we go. That should be better. There we go. Now, I do love these new ratcheting screwdrivers because, well, I am ambidextrous and they kind of happen to be conducive to that particular style of work. And for those of you who are wondering, no, I wasn't born ambidextrous. I had to teach myself to be ambidextrous. That looks pretty good for that wood anyway. Let's try a close cut on this one. Oh, for God's sakes. That one's not nearly as nice on that end. You can see there that the rot comes... oh, hang on. Get out of the shot if that'll lighten up. It will not. But you can see in the middle there, that's a significant chunk of rot right in the middle. A very dark, wet-looking spot. So this is another piece that we'll need some slicing to find the good wood. Tip for the ladies, if you're looking for the good wood, slicing is not the option you should go with. That's not too bad. Okay. Okay. There we are. So fortunately, this little stand that I was using is actually designed to be a garden seat and toolkit, which Stormy actually kindly donated to me. And currently it's actually earning its keep, so that's good. What I'm going to attempt to do is, these screws being as very rusty as they are, actually it's not rust, just a second. No, that's actually rotten wood on most of it. That one's rusty. That one is also rotted wood, I think. Yeah, so I'm going to try to knock these screws, the screws at this end, I'm going to try to knock out with the hammer, and mostly because they're sunk so far into the wood that they simply won't come up anymore. And then these ones on the side I'll try and unscrew, and then I can take a straight cut down through the side on the table saw and get rid of pretty much all that rot. So I've got some pretty good pieces here after all. Ouch. It's just a question of getting the screw heads cleared of all the debris that's in them, both the paint and some rotten wood, some soil probably, from people, from people walking around on them. But I think right there we're good. Oh, of course I hit the rot. There we are. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, I am chucking the screws just on the grass beside the shed here. But I have a magnet on a rope, which is essentially a screw and nail retriever, which I'll be using to clean up, which is why I'm throwing it only in a spot that I can easily clear, and that also doesn't get a lot of foot traffic, just in case I happen to miss any. Now that I'm actually looking at these, I think I probably could have taken them out with the power drill. These don't appear to be particularly twisted. So, oh, little Little tip for the gym guys. If you want to work on your grip, working a screwdriver is actually not bad for it. Okay, that one's not going to be agreeable. So I'm going to go and get the power drill and pull out the rest of these. And while I am off camera, I am still present, so govern yourselves accordingly. Especially you, Stormy. There we are. Okay, there we are. I wonder if that's even worth trying. Where's my probe? Oh, okay. Let's give that a shot. Oof. And as you could, well, actually I don't think you could see that. I'm going to have to move the camera a bit. But the last screw that I pulled actually came out with a twist, so my hand was juddering back and forth pretty hard. This last screw on this side, I'm going to grab the hammer for that one, which is right here. I will give you guys a noise warning now, because this is going to be loud and potentially ringy. And of course it broke off, which, fine. I'm okay with that being broke off because, well, that piece was going anyway. I wasn't keeping this section with the screw holes in it anyway because of the surface rot, so. Cutting boards won't actually sell here, Prime. I see chat's moved, so I'm going to actually flick back through chat again. Let's do it without actually having to show you guys a shot up my nose, because nobody really wants to see that, including me. Let's see what we've got here. Old woodshop teacher, 3 dogs. Okay, back to the CNC work. Sasquatch was asking if he was a millwright. Let me see. Stormy points out that her cats do in fact love me. One of them does. I'm not too sure about the other. But anyway, Callum says, give me time, I'll come around. Stormy says she figures I will, but the 3 dogs kind of keep him happy, which is true. I am very much a dog person. Let's see. Prime says, when a rubber O-ring is used, the tolerance is higher, but not all places are suited for rubber, and it needs to be smooth and perfect to seal from just pressure. True. Stormy has 2 cats. Everybody getting a laugh out of me talking to the spider. Callum apparently doesn't like spiders. Callum, I don't like everything that spiders kill, so I never kill a spider if I can avoid it. Prime says his old shop teacher would talk to his tools. At least it's a living thing. Yeah, about that. Stormy does in fact have 2 very nice cats. Prime Knight, he has plants, and I had a guinea pig a long time ago. Loved her. Her name was Isa, short for Isabella. Okay. Stormy likes guinea pigs. I'm anti-rodent. Primed is wondering if I got a router, if I could make cutting boards and sell. I have a cutting board that I've attempted to sell a couple of times. It's made of solid maple, and it's an heirloom quality piece, and I've had a couple of different responses, both negative, or usually negative, to the price I put on it, because I ask heirloom quality pricing, obviously. And the problem is that people will look at it and go, one guy especially in particular said, I can go to Walmart and buy one of those for $30. Yes. And then 6 months from now, you'll have to go buy another one for $30. And 6 months after that, 6 months after that, etc. Whereas you could buy this one for $150 and your grandkids could use it. But hey, what do I know? Let's see. Something about salami and prosciutto was Callum. I like salami. I don't care for prosciutto. I find it's too thin cut. Callum was talking about chicken liver Pete. I know it's pate. I'm just fucking with you. And a glass of lemonade. Oh, look, you found my kryptonite. I cannot do citrus. Prime says he'll be going by the small Finnish shop in town, getting garlic and meat pierogies. I had pierogies last week, actually. Let's see. And Stormy says she might make something today. I didn't catch that. And Callum says my hammer's not very loud. Well, thank you. I like to be subtle like a ninja. Primed is lamenting the state of modern Western culture and its disposability tendency. Yeah, people don't season anything as well as they should. It's really not that hard to deal with a cutting board if the cutting board is good quality in the first place. If you go somewhere like Walmart where you're buying something like, say, potentially something with a veneer on it that's actually pressed wood chips inside, then you can season it all day long and it won't matter. But if you have if you have something that's legitimate hardwood, solid wood, all the way through, then yeah, that you season and it will serve you for potentially generations. It depends on how much use it gets, of course. Anyway, back to work. Oh, you're stripped. How lovely. And Brian was talking earlier about how his shop teacher used to talk to his tools. I occasionally do something like that. But I tend to talk to myself when I'm working quite a lot. Anyway, you guys should be a fly on the wall for one of the phone calls I make with Stormy when I'm working on my thumbnails. There we are. Nah, not as strict as I thought. Good. And now, these guys. Might get one of you. And just to stay on the topic of talking to oneself, why do you think I'm doing a stream? It's so that I don't look like I'm talking to myself so much. That one I should be able to get. Oh, that one's in pretty deep. For those of you who aren't aware, old paint turns into almost a sort of caulking once the layers get thick enough, and can make it very difficult to get them out. Well, fuck you anyway. Yeah, I don't just talk to my tools, I swear at them. That one's stripped. Or rather, sunk too far to be easily lifted. up and knock you back. Okay. There we are. Okay, so what had happened with that last screw, just to give you guys a little bit of a tip, I suppose. It had been driven so far in this hole, this one right here, that the shank, the unthreaded part, had basically, or the threads, had sunk all the way past the end. So trying to turn it with a regular screwdriver wasn't going to accomplish anything. So what I did was take a block and put pressure on the end. That's why I gave it a smack, to get it to seat into the block so that when I started drawing it out, it would push back enough that the threads would kick. And once the threads caught on this side, they just kicked right out. Now this board is actually pretty good looking. There's a little bit of rot on that end, and a little bit of rot on that end. But I'm going to hack off this section here with the saw, and then after that it's table saw and miter saw work. And of course you guys should still be able to see me when I'm doing this, because that's kind of the point of showing you guys this stuff. And I was able actually to cut through the hole that the old screw had been in. And you can see here what happened was the wood started to rot from the screw itself outward, which probably means that under here, like I'll show you this angle, this is the bottom where the screw was. So the point would have come through this way, and you can see at the top, hang on, there we go, you can see right at the top, this is where the rot started. That's because a lot of people don't go back and put a bit of caulking or some sort of varnish or something over their screws when they first put them down, which isn't a necessary thing most of the time. I mean, this was the better part of 10 years that this step was in place, and it was old wood that it was built of, or reused wood, or reclaimed wood, whatever term you want to use. But the good thing is, at least good news for me, once I take the miter saw and slice this, all these pieces of rot will be gone, and it'll only be this that I'll have to worry about, probably all the way down, as you can see. I will probably take the miter saw and knock off this as well. I'm not going to bother with the saw today, because all the screws are gone. They came out clean, so I don't need to worry about those. That's 3 decent pieces I've got so far. We've got one more big boy to tear apart. And at this point, I should probably tell Stormy to settle down. My apologies, I didn't intend to show you my ass that badly. Okay. Let's see if we can pull some screws. Okay. I've run into the same problem. The shank is completely through the board. I need to have a look at the other side of this, the other end of this board. So I need to get this piece off first, because that's actually part of the original house where the reno was done. So it's got actual nails in it. There we are. If at first you don't succeed, use a hammer. There we are. Now where'd that nail go? Did it stay in that board, or did it end up on the ground? Okay, it looks like the nail stayed in that little piece. So, a lot of these screws have heads on them that are so corroded that I probably wouldn't be able to get them out with the screwdriver. So I'm just going to try and, do that. Rip them out with the hammer. And then just sweep them off to the side here. Let me see where this one is. There we are. Okay. And some of these, this one for example, is driven into a knot. So it should ideally be spinnable by hand. There we are. And there's quite a bit of rot on this board, especially where this particular screw is. So this is coming out fairly easily. I don't expect the rest of them to be quite as simple. And as you can hear and see from that angle, there's a lot of rot to be overcome there. Okay, what I'm going to do is knock a few screws back through and see what I can accomplish with the hammer. Obviously, we don't generally recommend that you pull screws with a hammer, but when all else fails, a hammer is a tool. Okay. After some reckless application of physical weight. There we are. Now that's backed out enough that the threads are in the wood, so I can spin it loose. Okay. I am going to sit down and see how many screws I can pull with the drill. And then once that's done, oh, I broke one there. That's okay, because I can safely assume that that piece is going to be removed anyway. That's all very rotten on this end. Mostly dry rot. So looking at it now, I don't really need to sit down. What I'm going to end up doing is going to cut it just above these screws. Actually, that wood looks like it might even be preservable. So I'm going to try and pull these screws out, everything above it, and then saw off that end. And this piece I will saw somewhere down around here and just put it in the trash, because there is a limit to the amount of effort I'm willing to spend. Because believe it or not, return on energy investment is a thing as well. There we are. Now, that I will poke in there and hope I don't stab myself with. So I'd really rather not go get a tetanus shot today. And that one's spinning. Now let's get handy dandy block back here. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, I am in fact wearing safety boots. They're not steel-toed. They have I believe it's an aluminum composite in them, which actually makes them safe for power workers too. But all the same, you don't want to jab that into the top of your boot and ruin your pretty boots. That one won't come up. And I'm not sure I'm going to bother anyway. Okay. They're coming out. And that one's in a stripped hole. So again, our little block is going to come in handy. Once you get them back to the point that the threads are biting. Okay, I'm scratching myself with my scratch awl. Go figure. Anyway, as I was saying, once you have the screws back to the point that you can grab, that the threads are grabbed, you can generally dispense with the block and just pull them out. I recommend using lighter pressure than you would putting them in for a couple of obvious reasons. This one especially is in a slightly stripped hole. Come on, there we go. Because he was in a stripped hole and the shank was down past the wood, it was quite difficult to get it to grip to remove it. Okay, so I have my point that I'm going to cut it from, and I have 2 screws left to try and get out. And again, the shank is out past on those, so we go back to our block. There we are. There, okay, excellent. And yes, I do realize the block came with the piece. Not really a problem. Okay, so those 2 screws are very rusty. I don't expect the wood inside to be terribly useful, but this does make it easier to cut, because I don't have to be super precise with my saw. Okay, once I have this piece off, I'll make one more cut for the trash, throw that in the box, and I'm going to sit down and talk to chat for a little bit before I take a longer break. So I do believe it's getting close to lunch. If you guys were wondering why I had such a hard time cutting that piece, why the saw seemed to be binding, it's because this stuff has been outside for so long, it has absorbed quite a lot of humidity from the atmosphere, and wet wood is much harder to cut than dry. But I've got a half-decent piece. Once I hack off that end, we'll see what we've got. But again, even if I've only got a square the size of the top of my hand, the part of my fist that you can see there, it's still usable. So So now one more cut, and I'll sit down and talk to chat for a little bit, and then I'm going for food. And that'll probably be the end of the live stream then. Now, where can I cut with so many screws? Well, I guess I'm making a vertical cut this time. Oh, one of the other things I will point out, because this wood is in an advanced state of decay in some parts, it may be fungal, it may be bacterial, so it's good to do this at the very least in a well ventilated area, outdoors ideally. If you were particularly concerned about your lungs, which I probably should be, I smoke and I've probably got COPD by now, but who cares. You could even mask up if you chose. A simple particulate mask will not do it. You would want to do something probably like a vapor mask. Okay, that'll go in the box. I think I'm actually going to make another cut just to feel safe. So I should be able to grab that there. This is much dustier than the rest because this side was dry rotted. Okay, gather up my tools, and I'll come back for the debris, and at some point today I will in fact clean up. Now, as far as I'm aware, the rest of the pieces I have to deal with today can just be cut, because I don't think there's anything salvageable there. Actually, while I'm in the shed working, I will turn the camera around so you guys can see what I'm doing. Here we are. There's my lovely little studio that I make some of my videos in. Okay, this thing doesn't have anywhere that I particularly keep it, but there's a nifty little notch there that I'll use. My saw needs to go back in the cover. You'll notice that when I made my last cut, I actually did clean the saw off, because especially considering how wet that wood is, you want to avoid any moisture being on the teeth of your saw. Rusty saw teeth suck. These are cheap saws as it is, so yeah. I mean, it's clearly a cheap saw when even the manufacturer won't admit to who they are. That's my charge looking like. Charge is still good in the battery, so I'm just going to put the battery and the drill away. One thing I do like is interchangeability and mutual compatibility between my tools. So a lot of my tools are either the same brand, or, for example, this is a Mastercraft Maximum screwdriver set, the ratcheter that I was using earlier, and this is a Radley. They were not bought at the same place, but because of the ends, I'll just show you here, the adapter ends of the screws, or the screwdriver bits, where they have that little chop in the middle there, towards the end, and they're hex ended. They fit this type of drill very simply. All you do is pull the collet out and drop your bit in, let it go. It automatically holds it. And like I said, intercompatibility is a great thing to have in your tools. Okay, we'll go there for now. And just to let you guys in on a little bit of secret, most of the tools I use, if they're green, they're Radley. Radley is the cheap brand that Home Hardware produces right now. Or at least they were producing it. I'm not sure if they're still making it. But I've found that they're more than good enough for the purposes that I put them through. So. And yet another reason why I need to clean up this space. By the way, anybody want to buy a door? Okay, let's unplug the camera from there and bring you back over here into the dark and the quiet and the silent. Okay. And we will bring you back down, which should put you about head level. There we go. Okay, let's see what's been said in chat since I sat down last. Something about salami I saw go by. Rosemary. I'm guessing there's not a lot of new comments, which is fine. I'm not surprised. I'm honestly shocked any of you are still here. I figured this would be boring as hell for most. But if you are actually getting anything in terms of new knowledge out of it, then I'm extremely pleased. Oh, that Dutch angle is bad. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, there's a broom blocking the tripod at the moment. That's a little off. Let's see how that looks. That's a bit better. Okay. Let's see. And Stormy is right, actually. The 3 dogs do keep me much happier than the 2 cats. Though Oliver, the newer cat in the house, is a rescue who seems to have taken to me quite thoroughly. I don't mind cats. It's not that I hate cats. It's just that I'm very much more a dog person. Hate me if you will. Let's see. Okay, Stormy says she's a good girl. I know where that came from. People so... Okay, that's seasoning cutting boards. Callum mentioned something called the lemon game. Whatever that is, I probably can't play it. No. And when I mentioned the calls between me and Stormy and me making my thumbnails, she said the clicking buttons and the mumbles are priceless. Yes. Yes, I in fact do sit very sturdy. I am not built for speed. Stormy says she wasn't looking. What did she miss? I was not shaking my ass. Yeah. Oh, Callum had to go. If you're still here, Callum, I hope you're having a good day. Kingdom of Inland pops in with Promethean Hails. Hello, Kingdom. Good to see you. Yeah, a vapor mask, a gas mask. Well, I mean, if you want to do woodwork in an old World War I gas mask, by all means, go for it. Base Abe asks if I'm losing my hand today. No, I was not risking grievous bodily injury today. Let's see. Prime says I lost my mind years ago. Stormy's keeping the pieces in place. Monkey grabs popcorn, waiting for me to do myself a bad turn. Kingdom asks if I like the idea of an AKM, which is an AK pattern firearm, with Viking-style markings. If it was in some sort of fantasy setting where the runes, for example, gave some sort of added power or feature to the gun, I think it would be absolutely interesting. If it was modern day, it would be an interesting piece to see. Uh, Bleach doesn't like the AKM. Bleach pops in, says, I'm grabbing the Donald Trump quote. Yes, yes, I am. I don't generally grab them. I wait for them to come to me. Stormy notwithstanding. And yes, Bleach says the AKM is too Slavic. Okay. Uh, and of course, if you guys were watching the gun stream the other day, you're very well aware that I am not a gun person. Prime has got a great idea: a dwarven AK with runes of spite to give extra fire damage. Is the AKM a particularly different pattern from, say, the AK-47? And while I'm asking you guys, I will also ask Google. Is the AKM different than the AK-47? One of the things I do like, so it's an STG-44. Okay. Oh, a dwarven AK. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Okay, yeah, the AKM is... oh, it's the modernized Kalashnikov. Approved for full production in '59. That's been around for a while. So I found an article from hiddendominion.com that lists the differences between AK-47, AK-74, AKM, AK-101, and AK-12. Those last two I've never heard of. Apparently there was an AK-46 prototype as well. It was, as the name implies, originally designed to SOT review in '46. Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't all AKs chambered in 7.62 by 39? 46 had 2 variants for a total of 3 generations. So this is the second generation AK-46. Let me see if I can get that angled properly. There we go. And what did chat have to say? Let's see. The AKM is the production version of the AK-47. 47 was production version. 47 was prototype. Well, 46 appears to have been the prototype. From what I understand, the AKM is just a modernized version that started in '59. Same operating system, but more of an LMG. Okay. Field strip for the 46. I'm just looking now for the 101 because I'm fascinated that I've never heard of these. 74, 74M. Oh, look, the 74M is as black, plastic, and scary as it could possibly get. Okay, the AK-101. This is an AK-74M clone copy. Oh, and it's chambered in 5.56 by 45 NATO. So if I want an AK that fires a Western round, I just have to get an AK-101. Interesting. Oh, and they have variants. 102, 103, 104, 105. The 105 has a shortened barrel. And my God, that's an incredibly stub. We were talking about stubby bayonets on the gun stream the other day. That one is tiny. The AK-12. That's the most recent AK. A lot of changes to the inner workings. 2 variants: AK-12, AK-15. Yeah, you can have my AR-15. I'll just keep my AK-15. Okay, so the AK-12 fires 5.45 by 39. I don't think I've ever even heard of that round. Apparently, it'll fire it up to 700 a minute. Maximum range is 800 meters. Kingdom. Okay, Bleach actually did point out the 5.45 by 39 before I got to it. AKM has a longer barrel, longer magazine, plus a bipod. PKM light machine gun. I think you're thinking about the RPK, possibly, though I may have that wrong as well. 47 AKM chambered in 7.62 by 39, AK-74 and on are mostly chambered 5.45 by 39. Okay. Apparently the The AK-12 will take magazines from the 74. It's based on the 74M. They've changed some of the controls and the charging handle. It's got Picatinny rail. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Picatinny kind of a former slur? No, or maybe I'm thinking about a different word that rhymes. Okay, I was right. It was the RPK. Thanks, Brian. Let's see here. So the AK-12 prototype in reality, and the AK-15. So that's the production version of the AK-12 at the top, and at the bottom is the AK-15. Why does it have a buffer tube style stock? Does it have a buffer tube? Can't imagine it would. And then, of course, the next article is how to build an AR-15, which we will not cover here. Because, well, Trudeau. And Bleach is right, I am thinking of that, which is intentionally misspelled. Good choice. And Kingdom said the AK-12 prototype, it's a lot better, more interesting than the one they finally went with. I was actually just looking at the prototype in that article. I scrolled past it before I showed it to you guys. Let me just bring that back. Can I get this to work? No, because I have that turned off. Okay, so there's your AK-12 prototype. And it is much sexier than the production version, in my opinion. Especially if you look at the rear stock compared to the production. Yeah, my hand's getting a little shaky, so I think I'll put the phone down now. So yeah, guys, we're coming to the end of another stream. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you happen to learn something, other than the fact that I have one hell of a badonkadonk, then I feel like I accomplished something today. The next step from here is to get the yard cleaned up, get the wood that I put out earlier today packed away. Prime says, good to listen, no last fingers. Still counting 10. Don't ask about my toes. A daggering stream. What the hell is that? Oh, God. Are you talking about that sick Bahamian dance thing? No. I will not be daggering. Stormy would not appreciate me daggering. That said, I have one toe. Fuck off. It'd be weird if it became 11. Yeah, I'm going to do this now, and I'm going to wait for someone to actually figure out how to put an 11th finger in there. Let me just spread that hand out a little more. There you go. Bleach is off to mid-journey to create an 11-fingered Ardent now. Okay, guys. This will be it for me for the day. Honey, Stormy, I will be calling you shortly. You can listen to me mumble to myself as I prepare lunch. Probably cold pizza. Kingdom asks right before I go, what do I think of the Steyr AUG? It's pretty, but I don't think it's all that practical. Personally, I don't like... Prime says he's seen a pic of a guy that shut his finger in a saw and it became 2. Well, clearly he wasn't using a saw stop. Which, when I replace this mangler here, that's my old table saw. It's beaten up and hand-me-down. So, yeah, there's very few safety features on that thing anymore. I'm just glad that when I hit the cutoff switch, it actually cuts off. But yeah, as far as the Steyr AUG goes, I would far prefer a longer gun. Especially if there's any possibility of close combat. And just to respond to Stormy, talking about the guy who split his finger into 2, that will happen so fast that the actual cut will not hurt. He was cutting 4 millimeters of oily wood in a bandsaw. What kind of moron? How the hell do you get your fingers into a bandsaw blade? Oh, you're an idiot. That's how you do it. I've got a new bandsaw that I haven't got set up yet. When I set it up, one of the things I will point out, I can see you thinking that longer guns would be a disadvantage in close quarter combat, but if we're talking about something where you have room, really a good lengthy bayonet and a good lengthy gun, a rifle, for example, are both really handy. Even if you don't have a bayonet, a longer rifle is a very effective club, or even a staff if we're talking about something as far back as, I think it was the not the Garand, the M1, the Lee Enfield, sorry, something that far back, which is the length of, say, or something close to the length of this broom. That gives you a significant leverage advantage for pummeling the crap out of somebody who's coming at you with a shorter gun. Stubby shoddy secondary for CQB. That's my girl, folks. She's nuts. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it here. I hope you all had some fun. And or learned something. And yeah, you're right, Bleach. It does depend on the nature of the CQB. In any event, as I said, I will be leaving here now. So I'll do my regular sign-off, give you guys a chance to say goodbye to each other. Excuse me. And, yeah. So, yeah, that is probably the only advantage of a Bullpup Kingdom. And to be fair, most modern combat happens at distance. So anyway, guys, as Stormy is saying, see you guys, thanks for coming. I am going to get out of here. That's Stormy's very, very subtle way of saying fuck off so I can talk to her. Anyway, I hope you're all having good days. I hope you continue to have good days. And as always, rise and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye. See you guys.